BSides Chicago 2024. Hit it. Boston on the other side.
Are you the speaker?
I am.
Is everything okay with your AV?
It's excellent. The clicker isn't working, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a janky flicker.
It's alright. Yeah, everything's good. What's your name?
Tim,
Tim, pleasure. Everything's solid.
what's your name?
Justin.
Okay,
That's
Justin.
Brian. He's my representative.
We're sitting right outside. Brian?
Hey, how you doing?
Okay. Your brother, that's right.
Nice.
Right outside, we're sitting if you need help. Okay, guys?
Will do,
All
thanks.
right, sure.
Appreciate you.
You want to say Chicago video?
What's that?
You want to say Chicago? Oh, it's very good. Is that in the password? The password's
Okay, cute up.
cool.
Was it Kanye West song?
This one showing up.
It's represented here.
So what was your name? Brian.
Brian, I'm Phil.
It's good to meet you, Phil.
Yes,
From
good to meet you.
Illinois. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
We gotta switch out the shirts though. I got a gray nose shirts. So,
Oh, did you?
got some swag with that.
Oh,
We're wearing
let's
this
switch up.
for Tenable for lifetime
Yeah.
stuff. So
Oh,
we
gotcha.
made a deal. The parking lot.
Yeah, let's do it. What's great? So we're basically we're supporting so yeah, very cool. These things are so many different things here for vulnerability prioritization, another really good use case is if you are really bad about blocking certain things. Like one of the other products is like how you can business services data sets, so you don't actually collect basic data. There's a lot of stuff. That can register, we be free, and right now we're getting
That would be the end of
free
my
for
career. Maybe it's if you get started.
Well, we see,
And that's what we'll do.
yeah, and I
just started, so these guys have to know more about my product. I work for Trevor Trickles. Senior cyber risk advisor. So we do a lot of vulnerability management. We also have like cyber services. So it's like contracts. We're also my whole team. That's helpful. So, a lot 7 years. No, probably walk. With my
Guys, let's get started. Oh man, that is loud. Gracious. Oh yeah. Yeah, should we close it first? Okay. Yeah, just lose you lose. Hey guys, my name is Brian Mazie. Flew in from Salt Lake City. Just super grateful to be here. Here to be on stage, BSides Chicago. Probably the biggest BSides I've been at. Truly amazing. Grateful to share the stage with my brother Justin Varner. So I've been in the security field for about 14 years. I built and run numerous security programs, and it really is exciting. You've probably been in a number of other talks. It's really exciting to see the recent developments, that are happening in cybersecurity. And so really the one that we're going to focus on is deception technology. So that's starting to be better understood and really show its value within the community. So we've convinced the world that hackers are a serious threat, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. And protection is critical. So, what we can do now is take a step back, show the world that the good guys, are always smarter than the villains, and you are here because you have chosen to fight for the good guys, chosen to fight for the innocent and sometimes the not so innocent. And so, what we're going to do is learn a new strategy for tracking those bad guys' actions, finding out who they are, de-anonymize those malicious actors, tricking them right out of your system with a little strategy we like to call better breach detection with deception inception, or honeypot boo-boo. So honey traps, they go by many names, including honeypots or honey tokens. So no matter what you call them, really the security mechanism is designed to entice adversaries into announcing their presence. So it's a tripwire of sorts that looks like something as sweet as honey, but quickly alerts you to the presence by providing a lower volume of high fidelity alerts when something bad is happening. So we want the attackers to announce their presence, but really the current system is built on defenders waiting for an alert to come in, and it really is just hunting for needles in haystacks, which really doesn't work. It doesn't have long-term success. So breaches are compounding in cost, increasing complexity, frequency, and what we're currently doing really doesn't work, and we're losing a lot of good security practitioners due to burnout, and we're spending a large amount of time chasing false positive red herrings. And so in a breach scenario, the blast radius is just so large. So for example, if a malicious actor gains DA, it's game over for your organization. So this really is one component of a larger discipline known as deception technology, where trickery is the name of the game. So the tricks, as well as the approaches that we're going to cover in today's talk that are necessary to improve your MTDD, or your mean time to detection, to mitigate your blast radius in the event of a breach event, and also prevent massive burnout across your security org. So you guys have probably seen this meme, right? Making lemonade out of lemons. So as an industry, we become complacent with our best and brightest security practitioners staying up all night, triaging alerts, and it's a recipe. It's a bad recipe for burnout. So it's why we have a large number of open security jobs that really need to be filled.
and the expectations for these practitioners are unrealistic for analysts and for engineers. So so what we're doing right now, the common practice or common run book is you're manually managing these detection technologies, triaging alerts when these could easily be automated. So it's contributing to the burnout we're seeing today. So we all need sleep. We can't stay up all night working, triaging tickets, triaging alerts, and we just need to get ahead of malicious attackers. So who's familiar with the pyramid of pain? Yeah, perfect. We have a number of folks, right? So pyramid of pain, as you climb up the pyramid, looking up the more complex TTPs for a malicious actor. That's they're more reticent to come after you, right? But our analysts are continuing climbing that pyramid of pain, looking at TTPs, identifying IOIs and IOCs, and looking to see what can they do, putting in YARA rules, right, to identify signature-based attacks, atomic indicators, all that good stuff, behavioral indicators. So they're looking at that, but sometimes it really doesn't work, and again, it's not very extensible, and so it's a never-ending cycle, and it leads to burnout for a lot of our analysts and engineers, and so we're spending way too much time in the pain part of the pyramid of pain. So why the need for deception technology? Frankly, it's headlines. We've seen highly publicized breaches. Here are just a few high-profile breaches that were likely stemmed from an overwhelmed, overworked, and alert-numb SOC team. The NSA, so this is the agency that's best equipped to detect this type of malicious behavior. They had 1.7 million records out the door in 2016. Impacts from multiple Equifax breaches, as well as breaches from LinkedIn, back starting in 2012. And evidence is clear. We need something new in order to detect this type of behavior. Jimmy McMillan, founder of the Rent is Too Damn High party, is a New York State-based, or was a New York State-based political party. So he ran for multiple offices, multiple political offices, including the New York gubernatorial position and President of the United States. You've probably seen this from his attempt at running in 2012. So his platform centered around the rising costs of housing prices. So he became internet famous for a speech in which he claimed that the price of rent is too damn high, which is absolutely true. But frankly, if Jimmy was running today, he would be equally concerned and even appalled at the rising costs of cybercrime impact. Here's stats I'm going to throw at you. So we're seeing a steady climb in the global cost of impact from cybercrime, with projected costs surpassing 11 trillion US dollars by 2026. So the FBI released a report that calculated every 39 seconds a business has been impacted by a cyber incident, potentially leading to a breach. So over 880,000 complaints have been logged in 2023 alone, and we're seeing that trending up. Is there a solution here? What can we do to help mitigate this? Some more stats I'd love to present to you. Here's some of the biggest publicly disclosed data breaches in recent years. Change Healthcare had an impact of over 15 billion records in 2024, and this was affected by external malicious actors. So absolutely a well-known or series of well-known APTs. Also Cam4, it's a little naughty streaming site with an impact of over 10 billion records in 2020. And Yahoo has been pwned a number of times. But here specifically, this was in 2013 of 3 billion accounts. I think at the time, this was the largest breach known, or that was publicized. I want to give you a specific example, Aadhaar. So this was an experiment by the Indian government, in which they said they want to consolidate identification, how they can track and be able to track their citizens. So they said, let's take identification records of our citizens, such as driver's license numbers, national IDs, etc., and link it to a unique 16-digit number. And the organization, it was 3 years of development, cost a lot of money. I don't know the specific budget there. But after 3 years of development, they opened it up to the world and they said, hackers, try to attack us. We're very confident in our security stance. And within 2 hours, they were breached, and with an impact of 1.1 billion records. So yeah, per the IBM breach report, on average, a bad actor can remain in an organization's infrastructure for 212 days before they're discovered, before detection. And it takes 279 days to actually remediate that. And I think in 2024, that number has even increased. I believe it's now to 278 days before detection. And what is it, 326 to remediate. Yeah, that's incredible. Let's talk about Things Canary. So the first step in deception, Things Canary, their methodology for breach detection. So back in the day, back in the 1800s, you would send a yellow canary down into the coal mine to alert the workers if there was presence of toxic gases there, and such as carbon monoxide. And a big indicator for that was when the canary started freaking out, or when it would inevitably die. That would be the indicator for your miners to get out of that vein there. And so in 2015, Things Canary took that idea, and instead of relying on honeypots specifically, old school thought of thinking honeypots on your perimeter, let's bring it in one hop away. So bring it within your network, and make them more tailored to your environment. So take, for example, if you were running SQL Server, for database management, you can create a bird that looks exactly like other DB servers, right within your environment. It blends in your environment, and bad actors will go after them. So that will give you high fidelity alerts of something that really shouldn't be touched, but if it is, it will alert you and you'll know that something amiss is going on. And really, to add on to it, canary tokens. So these are little tripwires that you can sprinkle across your environment, and they can take the form of different things: Google Docs, API keys, QR codes. You can create a variety of these and place them in different strategic points of your infrastructure to blend into your environment. And really, as mentioned before, high fidelity signals that are completely free. And bird is a word. Didn't really have anything for the slide. So let me tell you more about honeypots. Active Directory. So everyone kind of knows what Active Directory is used for. Been used for decades, right? Manages users, assets, endpoints via domain controllers. But AD has been pwned a number of times. I think they just released another attack method. But we have DC Shadow, DC Sync, Golden Ticket, Silver Ticket. Lots of research out there to pwn AD. It's incredibly easy, which makes it. It can be easy, sorry, that's what I meant, but it makes it an attractive target for an attacker. And again, if a malicious actor gets domain admin, it's game over. So let's pretend to be a domain controller. I want to note, Things Canary states that this service is so convincing, you can create an AD on the bird and it will interact with your environment. So please proceed with caution. So take a look at this. So we have a spun up canary token here, canary, which is mimicking a domain controller. And so when you run nmap against this spun up DC, it's going to come back with legitimate looking services. So here in this specific case, we have it reporting back Kerberos, IAS, etc. You can even customize it to add the domain to have it fit within your environment. And again, allows you to blend within your environment. So when an attacker scans, interrogates that specific endpoint, this is what it's going to look like. And the canaries start chirping. So when an attacker attempts reconnaissance actions against your canary, the alerts light up like a Christmas tree, giving us detailed information about that specific attacker, their actions. What are they doing in order to attempt to pivot from here? What are they doing to conduct a recon action, etc. So not only are you getting alerts on the scans occurring against your honeypot, but you can also see what the potential bad actor is attempting to do. For example, you can see that they're attempting to authenticate against the IAS service. You're capturing the credentials there. That's incredible intel that you can that can feed into your threat intelligence. You can send these alerts into Slack as part of your SecOps process, into Slack, PagerDuty. If it has an API, you can connect to it. thinks Canary is incredibly powerful. We can gather data on this, specific bad actor. We can see, as mentioned before, the account they're using, any IP info, and also we can see the type of service that they're running against the asset. Here's an example of a non-DC instance. This is a piece of shit Joomla CMS instance that's out on the internet. Pardon my language. And it's purposely built with vulnerabilities. We want to entice. So it's out on the perimeter. We want to entice an attacker to try and see what they're going to do. So it's sitting out there, and it will be discovered and inevitably interacted with. And because it's our canary, we have some high fidelity information based on that bad actor. So here it's giving us header information such as user agent, essentially device fingerprinting. You can even see the credentials this individual or this party is attempting to use against our MySite instance. You can see even the CAN vulnerability they're attempting to run against Joomla. And we can see that per device fingerprinting, per header info, we can see that they're on a Mac coming from a Virginia IP. And you can collect browser intelligence, in order to collect vital information for your forensics and DFIR processes. Let's talk about gray noise, my man right here. Anyway, talk to these guys. These guys are awesome. So we've linked a couple processes here with gray noise intelligence. Ted Stevens, the Alaskan state governor, he said, he went viral for a little bit. He said, the internet is not a big truck, it's a series of tubes. And he was partially correct. It's not a big truck, but it is mostly noise. So let's talk about gray noise. They're a great intel firm out of the DC area, and they give you high fidelity alerts. So it filters out haters, bots, spammers, CDNs, out of hundreds of thousands of IPs that are hitting your org. And it shows you who are those actors potentially targeting you, giving you the ability to focus on those persistent actors. Here's an example. So we've configured an old school honeypot out on our perimeter, and we're seeing the noise of an adversarial group potentially that are hitting that endpoint. And so China is up to no good, and we can see 4,000 distinct IPs that are hitting this endpoint. And we're going to send them to gray noise. It runs it through their intelligence, and we filter out the data that we don't need to see. So we can use built-in integration with Canary and gray noise to determine whether this is bot activity. Does this come from a known malicious IP? Have we seen this before? Have other people seen this before? What kind of metrics can we pull from that? Gray noise gives us all of that. So we can we can then narrow it down to if this is a potential targeted attack, and then dive in from there, per our DFIR processes. So in this example, Justin has operationalized a script that takes information from gray noise and generates a report using this high fidelity data. And we can try to figure out why is a bad actor in Auckland trying to attack us. Here's another integration piece that I want to talk to you about. So Run Zero. So Canary has a native integration with Run Zero that goes together like Shaquille O'Neal and broken backboards. I'm missing the GIF for that. So source IPs from Canary, will automatically alert and create an asset in Run Zero for enrichment and added context, like our next example here. So Run Zero is one of the best continuous asset inventory programs that's out there on the market right now. And I love their model, the freemium model, right? Demo it as you please for personal, and if you want to use it for an organization, there's enterprise plans for you as well. But it's fast, it keeps up with real-time changes in your environment, and it categorizes the assets based on the data it's collected from it. So if an attacker interacts with the canary that's out there, or even within your environment, we can use Run Zero to identify any distinct attributes of that threat actor. It's going to categorize them and set up custom actions that we have potentially scripted based on what we've observed on their activity there. Okay, and I'm going to turn it over to Justin.
Great work.
Let's go, brother.
Awesome. All right, I want you guys to stay there just for like 60 seconds so that you start hallucinating. Now, the other really important part of this whole platform is canary tokens. And things is like, we need to make Honey tokens that are easy, free, and they are truly free. They operate a service called canarytokens.org. You can go there right now, make a fake email, you can make a version control, truly a high availability service. This is why I believe in them. And I'm gonna walk you through some specific examples of categories. Now there are literally unlimited ways to token and deploy, which is why this is so fun. I've given several ideas to them that have been incorporated. This is just a few examples, so you'll come up with more. But this is the token. First off, rest in peace, Chris Farley. Great on, damn in there, killed him. So let's start with DNS, domain name system. Externally, people will try to resolve your subdomains, and see what's out there. And internally, these are really useful because if they're on your network and they're doing reverse lookups, you can map that to a dark network segment that doesn't exist, right? So why is someone resolving whatever, vault secrets? That's really useful internally. Externally though, it's the first indicator that reconnaissance is happening. It's not gonna tell you the IP of the user, it will tell you the IP of the DNS server. So it'll at least tell you that there's some automated lookups happening. So then you can queue that up and send it to what's called a web redirect token. This is actually my favorite token of all because it's fast and furious and it gives you lots of data. So for example, we take that domain, we actually create a CNAME that when they visit it, can redirect them and send them somewhere. So for example, we have a subdomain that is under Radzen, since BSides Chicago. There's a slow and a fast redirect. The slow gives you more telemetry, but it's more obvious that they're being redirected. But in the process, you hit that and you get IP, you get the user agent, you're starting to build forensics, right? Like Brian had alluded to, the birds allow you this, but the tokens, the idea here is you drop minefields of tokens everywhere so that they can't avoid hitting them, and they're gonna keep making mistakes for building a profile. This can ultimately save you hundreds of thousands of dollars of cyber insurance because you can provide this data to the investigators and you can say, we actually have a means to de-anonymize people and we're not even spending any money. Now, if you want to buy Canary console, it's $5 grand a year and for 2 birds. How many people spend 6 figures on a product that does nothing? Everyone. So, but the other thing with these alerts, that's cool, so the free site even tells you the geographic info. So this allows you to kind of understand a larger context. Are there specific people from New Zealand? Is this deterministic, opportunistic? It's really helpful, and you can send these alerts to PagerDuty, Slack, anything with an API, and I'm going to talk about this in a future slide when I get the times. Dodgeball. So another fun token that's reconnaissance-based, fun website. 5 lines of code, JavaScript or CSS, obfuscate it, put it on your pages. Someone copies it, redeploys it on a doppelganger, boom, an alert. I've seen this happen to many organizations. The fact that they knew about it allowed them to send a cease and desist, get it taken down before it turns into a larger threat context. Totally free. Make sure you obfuscate it, otherwise it's like, hey, this is a clone site. If there's any hacker worth their salt, they'll figure it out, And so just try to make it not so obvious. Burp-map on those, alert, protect, investigate, APIs. Here's this category. Whoa. Any board after hands out there? So let's be friends. So if you're not an AD, you can become king of the cloud. AWS has been used since 2007. A lot of companies have launched off of it because they don't want to run their own data centers. It is the perversion, you get the keys to the kingdom. So whereas domain admin is, the key here, an API key with the right permissions can be the equivalent of DA. Now what's crazy about this is we can token our own keys, and there's a really interesting process that Things talks about in their blog about CloudTrail. You can actually permission them to accounts that are bogus and decoy. And I mention this because a couple years ago, there's this big red team company that does an engagement. I won't mention any names, X-Force, but they came through and they had a 3-week engagement, and they were so proud of themselves because 6 minutes in, they find an API key, then they find an S3 bucket, and they're just finding them all. So 3 weeks roll by, they come to the CISO, they throw the thing, look at this, we found it. And then I go, boom, 95-page paper, every single alert they're tripping over, watching the watchers, not real. Like, they basically question their whole reality, and then they die. I'm just kidding. So AWS. So once you get them there, it's like, well, let's make an S3 bucket, right? S3 simple storage service, it's just raw storage. However, AWS didn't really think about security early on, so buckets were readable, not only by anyone in AWS, but in the Amazon account. If you have the right ID, you can read a bucket, because why not? So people just put healthcare data, telemetry, and so the idea here is let's make a bucket that blends in. And the power in this is that there is no way to avoid hitting this bucket if you do enumerate buckets. And so that also means it can be noisy, so you're gonna have to tailor it. But this is beautiful because you've got a bucket that looks like any other one, but it's gonna tell you what the people are trying to do. So like, again, the detailed telemetry, here's the user, here's the command, here's the agent. It says here basically, it looks like they're on photo 3. But over time, we're actually building a device profile. This is really helpful too, because if there's any gamers out there, you probably know about Valve. Valve regularly uploads hardware indexes. So think of it this way, you know, in Richmond, Virginia, where I'm from, still to this day, it's hard to get M3s, M2s, or supply chain. So if I am an investigator in Richmond, I know exactly how many M1s there are. You've already narrowed down your pool of potential people, right? Just from this. And so imagine as you build more telemetry, you can, you know how the government does it. You know that you can almost with a shadow of a doubt provide this. Again, cyber insurance, easy case right there. There's a lot going on here, and I made this slide because I love Exhibit. If you remember Pimp My Ride, his thing was, let's go take a fish tank, put it inside an aquarium inside your car so you can drive a fish tank aquarium car, right? So here's an idea. Let's put a Slack token or AWS inside a Slack. I've seen this happen with orgs. You know, they'll accidentally have a Datadog alert that spits out the token. The problem is Slack said in 2019, stop using incoming webhooks. They're too powerful. If you have a webhook, you can send a message from anyone to anyone. I've built campaigns on Slack that I forgot about Monday and I clicked on my own link. It's that convincing. You'll see a message coming from Okta, update your password, okay? Interesting. You click on it, like if I fall for it, anyone will, because, and we gotta stop telling people to investigate phishing links. It should never get to Slack in the first place. We're failing at our job if it does. So just layer it on there and, you know, give it fake permissions. That's the other thing. We can make this token useful to a fake Slack account. I mean, you can go as deep as you want. It's pretty incredible. There's a pretty new one with Kubernetes, the API, K8s, K8s. Now that's cool. Containers though, right? They came around, Docker really popularized the idea of containing your app, you know, in a way that it can run independent of OS. And Kubernetes came along, but like, let's make it all fancy and messy and beautiful, and let's orchestrate it with, you know, with our pods, clusters, whatever. So they did that, and kubectl is like kind of the equivalent of the AWS CLI. And so in a similar way to the keys, how about this? We drop an AWS key or a Kubernetes key on everyone's laptop, including the CEOs, but the CEO doesn't use Kubernetes. So if it does get used, we have a pretty good idea something's happening. And the mistake that people make, even these bad guys, is they'll take the keys and they'll run it on their own machine, send it somewhere else. Oops. Again, we start to de-anonymize them. We know the endpoint, we know the user agent. We have more forensic detail just from that. And so you're trying to create outliers. You know, the whole point of things is a high fidelity signal. Their whole pitch is, you know, it doesn't make noise until you need it. If it's at one time, once per year, and you have hundreds of thousands of tokens, that's when it matters, right? It's the only time it matters. Then their most recent one, I'm a memester, so if you remember the 93 megabytes of RAR file meme, this guy's like, I accidentally 93 megabytes of RAR files, is this dangerous? The guy's like, you accidentally what? You accidentally Coke bottle? I accidentally 40 pounds of mangoes? Anyway, so you can take any binary or PowerShell, you wrap it in a token, so like, who am I, regedit, and it links to the registry, so the person doesn't know it's not legit, but as soon as you queue for marketing starts running, you know, regedit or something, we're gonna have a good indicator that this is not supposed to be happening. So this is pretty new. I had some input in the research, and this also works for Linux, but there's this plugin called Yellow or Taxi on GitHub. It's not natively written for binary files, but it does work. Okay, a little late to get out. So this next section has tokens for you specifically. I recommend after this talk, you create them now for free. It could be the difference in you knowing you have Pegasus spyware or not. And I'll give you an example. So NSF group decided to deploy this to all these devices. It's still floating around. How would you know if you had it, right? You wouldn't, but like 4 or 5 of my friends, I helped them put this on their phone. It was the only way that they knew it was on there. So the idea is this: with Pegasus, we're going to do forensics with a tool like I'm using. It'll go through and enumerate your VPN profiles. So WireGuard came along, so much better than OpenVPN. You know, it resumes stateful connections. It uses SHA-SHA-20. It's faster. So you can make a profile, name it, you know, Gray Noise Enterprise VPN, something with value. When an adversary is on your phone and they try to enable it, it's going to fire an alert, and you're going to know this isn't legitimate. And so, why would this be happening? Like I said, it saved 4 of my friends that had no freaking clue, and then they did forensics to determine it. And that's kind of freaky to know that this could be the only thing that saves you, but this is why I believe so much in this stuff. It works and it's free, so do it now. And there's another QR code. So I didn't have a chance to do this here, but I trolled the heck out of Hacker Halted 2 days ago. I went and made a QR code that said Hacker Halted Wi-Fi, you know, pushed it everywhere. So there were like 87 people that scanned it. People love QR codes, right? Imagine if you had a QR code on a billboard that said scan here to register to vote, right? Maybe we could change the world. But before we get to that, you scan that there. It's not a trap. Big security people, so you probably won't scan it. But the idea is this: we make it a token, make it unread email, Gmail, hey, Okta Verify needs you to authenticate your device. But we make it unread, the user doesn't need to know. Adversary gets it, tries to enroll the phone, boop, not real. And you can rickroll them too, you can send them anywhere. So just mess with them, it's great. Again, detailed data, the type of device, iPhone, IP, telemetry, and make sure with tokens, one more thing. Add a descriptive reminder. Don't just say QR code. Say exactly what you're doing. Otherwise, it's gonna be hard to sort through the alerts, the ones you get in Slack and so on. Okay, now this one I'm gonna let you stare at for a while because you will hallucinate. No, at this point in our talk, we know the adversaries here. They probably don't. Time to mess with them. We want them to leave or make it evident that we will find them and we will kill them Liam Neeson style. So. Start psychological warfare, beginning with like databases, right? It's a pretty new token, and the beauty in this is that you can make a database, just interacting with it will alert, but why not put tokens inside the database? DNS token, files. You can literally build like a grenade size freaking token. You can have 20 or so alerts, and you can, truly I've seen an entire device, like person being anonymized by a database token. So you get even info, but just, using MySQL pulls it in, put arbitrary data in, it's the gold mine, everybody wants the database, so make that token now, it's awesome. Conspiracy theory, whoa, here's the thing, you guys are smart. Conspiracy theories are just realities, you just need 2 or more people to have a plot, and that's a conspiracy. So, hey, maybe the bad actor doesn't know about Operation Paperclip, Northwood, MK Ultra, the fact that the water's being poisoned and the frogs are gay. I'm just kidding, but speculative technology. You could teach them something. Teach them how to Dougie. Maybe they learn something and they stop being scumbags and scamming people. Maybe. But if not at this point, if they don't know you're trolling them, well, they're not a very good adversary then. Then in spreadsheets, any DB Cooper fans out there? Anyone know where he is? Because if you do, I'll give you $100 million. Again, make something enticing. NFT, prospectus, whatever the hell that is. Sounds financial, let's open it. Boom, truth bomb. Hey, they learned something, then they go on the Netflix show and they know DB Cooper. I don't know, again, maybe they stop being scumbags, right? Because at the end of the day, we need more good guys, we need less of these punks. So this is one way to spread some bullshit. Alright, so as I alluded to earlier, we can pull this all together with something called SOAR, Security Orchestration Automation Response. So back in like 2016, Palo Alto's like, whoa, we're gonna buy the Misto, we're gonna make a SOAR, except you gotta pay $100 grand. Tyne said, no, how about we give it away for free? There are probably a dozen companies I truly believe in that are following the model of, here's free, do with it as you will. If you want to spend money for enterprise, you can, but you truly do not have to spend money. Canary, Gray Noise, 1.0, you'll see the partner program has been built. by identifying those that believe in it and don't sell snake oil and stupid $100,000 black boxes of nonsense. So these guys in Dublin found a way to connect any API. So the whole story Brian mentioned earlier with Run Zero Brainwaves, you don't have to run this yourself. Throw it in Times. If it has an API, it's codeless. You can write liquid syntax, which is a Shopify language, which is basically markup. And I wrote a story which you can find online. There's a link at the end of this deck. And it's pretty simple. Gets the alert from Canary, adds the context from Brain Noise, sends to Run Zero. So you get all the metadata, you get the asset. And so you'll know, like, if all of a sudden your asset's starting to talk to Tor, you're gonna be like, this is bad. There's a variety of use cases here with Run Zero, but the biggest problem that H.G. Moore tried to solve when he started the company was, how do I do this in a continuous real-time manner? Nothing had done it. Nmap, everything was just like reactionary. But the secret sauce, because he's a ninja, he's like, let me write it in Go, because Go is really freaking fast. So I can make, so he found a way to scan the internet in like 8 minutes, with Run Zero. But it has grown to an incredible product. He gave a talk recently on Defender Fridays run by Lee McCharlie, another partner, where he talks about segmentation decay and how Run Zero has exposed the fact that layer 3 and 4 segmentation does not work because everything in your house is a router. Your Tesla, your printer, your coffee machine. There's no such thing as segmentation, and even micro-segmentation can be limited if it's identity-based and you're not actually tracking identities, but it's credible. Again, free service, free noise, Times. Simple thing, and it lets you orchestrate, take out the menial effort, not spend any time with it. It's amazing. And then Lee and Charlie, I mentioned them. I met Chris, one of the founders at BSides Charleston 2 years ago, and he said, man, we're just sick of these stupid products not doing all the things we want, so we're going to build a SecOps kind of all-in-one ingest. So their real secret sauce is they found a way to get telemetry from any device. Doesn't matter what it is. It can be like a coffee machine running some kind of weird Linux. They have a way to gather logs from Canary. There's a native integration from AWS endpoints. They have really good EDR. And they kind of provide a SIM. It doesn't provide like the graphical analytics like a Kibana or whatever, but you can build overlays, but it's not designed. But the point is, Canary is not meant to replace endpoint protection, network security. It's designed to tell you in real time when breaches happen. You still need a SIM. You need forensic correlation, DFIR. Don't throw away all your stuff. Like Canary is meant to exist within it. And so, for example, here all these alerts are hitting, boom, boom, boom. You can actually build the trail. This is what you provide to cyber insurance, DFIR, to let them know that's happening. Another free company. It's free to start. If you need more resources, message them. But I partner with them. I basically have like enterprise access for life because it's jointly beneficial. And then I'm going to bring in Brian for the 7-layer dip, deception and deception projection up in here.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, let's close this out. So, as mentioned, better breach detection to deception, inception. So let's talk through 7 different types of deception methods that you can utilize, to potentially catch an actor, moving through your environment or moving through a false environment that you set up. So as an example, let's say we have an adversary that they've discovered an Nginx server that's out there, but this is one of our canaries that we've spun up. And it just so happens that we have a token. The Nginx binary is a token. So now we have this intelligence, and we know an adversary is there. It's hit this box, and they're attempting to do some shady things. Now, we know that they've run netstat, again, because this is a canary. We know all the actions that they're doing there. Now, they don't really care about obscuring their actions, and so they want to be loud, and so they've executed Nmap. So now that's going to be incredibly loud, incredibly verbose, and it's generating a number of alerts. Again, because we've funneled all of our alerting into our SecOps process, into PagerDuty, into Slack. Our analysts have that visibility. And so now let's say they've now pivoted into a Kubernetes instance. And with that, they've also looked at the potential access that that the kube cluster has, and they see that there's now access to a Google Workspace, and they've pivoted into that. And it just so happens that they've discovered a Google Sheet that has an AWS API key that then can be used against a to access an S3 bucket. Again, these are all canaries that have been spun up, and these are all tokens that have been spun up to be able to divert and also to collect high fidelity intelligence on this attacker. And we have all of that detailed forensic information that's funneled into Liam Neeson. And so I don't know who you are. I don't do a good Scottish accent, but I will find you using this detailed forensic trail you left behind. And let me turn it back over to Justin.
Q&A, right? This is the 10th talk I've delivered. June 2022, this little conference in Richmond called RBASEC. Jay Coons brought me on. My goal in starting this was to help one person. I've had hundreds of people message me. I built a partner program. It's been incredible. And I now have a squad, if you can believe it. I don't know what I did to deserve it, but I gotta give a shout out to people who made it happen. Ryan, first off, he came to Atlanta Thursday to give the talk at Hacker Halted. And I'm actually sunsetting it and giving it to him because next year I'm going to give a talk about hotel security shenanigans and some of my adventures, getting stuck in air ducts for 2 hours and so on. So he's the best person to do it. I'm so excited to see the future. Like RSA, who knows where he might take it. ML Stein, beautiful deck design. Hire her, that's her stuff. Z Payne on the videography, genius. My network of titanium turbo babes, don't ask me what that is until after. Ariana, Bracken, Bree, Christiane, Amani, Cassandra, Caleb, PJ, Renee, and Samantha, thank you, love you all so much. And our partners, Stinks, Brain Noise, Run Zero Times, Lima Charlie, Push, Cloaked, Tenable. You guys are awesome, we need to solve problems, partner up. This is how we get things done in security. Stop being a prick and charging people $100,000 in a demo for a sales engineer. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Let's see, we got 4 minutes. Questions?
So I love being tricky. I love deception techniques and stuff like that. But a lot of my company or like IT does not like the idea of just randomly seeing an API key and like freaking out over it. How do you like sway them to be okay with like setting up these deception things? Are you telling them? Do you have to tell them always?
It's a great question. It is literally the eternal problem of need to know, right? It's like you got to tell enough people, but not everyone. So generally, it depends on the type of token, right? It's like if you're dropping AWS keys and code, let the engineers know, but IT doesn't need to know. But it's like if endpoints are getting it, okay, are they going to see the alerts? Are they going to be looking to see the AWS profile? There's really no right answer, but kind of getting the executive buy-in from the top and saying like, here's a use case, we might be saved, regardless of AT complaining, what happens if the company goes under, we get hacked, and you can pull that whole card. But it's hard, like if you're in a big org, it's definitely harder to make the case, so maybe start with like pilot groups, as you will. But yeah, it's a great question, honestly, with no real 100% clear answer.
Yeah, I completely agree there, and I think also making a case for this will help with visibility, and also I think you can, if you come prepared with data, right, to really show some of the stats that we talked about, mean time to detection. You can really that's a real problem, and then you can essentially say, hey, we can really drive this down severely by implementing this technology, and then again, it's back to the need to know basis, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Absolutely, no, that's a great question.
What's been your favorite honeypot that you deployed?
Oh man, yeah. So there's you can truly make it at everything. You can make it a Modbus controller, SCADA, coffee machine. I mean, you can customize every single potential service. So I've made some wild honeypots. Trying to even think here. Maybe, yeah. It's hard. I don't know. I love them all, right?
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I think a potentially high volume one that I found very amusing are the QR codes, right? And then to be able to utilize that to send there somewhere, somewhere to troll them, or I don't know, potentially malicious if you needed to. But that's a pretty good high volume, low impact kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, there's one other thing they've added. They've added this thing called breadcrumbs. So it allows you to add like PuTTY and SSH profiles, so you can even add more data. I've emulated Windows Server 2003 devices, which might be a stretch, depends on your org runs, but it's been so convincing. It's like, you know, it has print servers, like, but you don't necessarily go like Cowboy Kid Rock and put everything on there, you know, like you want to look at what's in your environment. So if you're running SQL Server, it makes sense, but it's all about blending in and being convincing. But that's, yeah, that's a good question. I can think on that.
How are you guys generating this information at scale? So if you're creating a honeypot and you're trying to make it seem as realistic as possible,
Yeah.
how are you guys able to do this for,
Yeah.
X number of customers?
Good question. So Things has a lot of automation capabilities. You can deploy Ansible, Terraform, Puppet at scale, right? So you can make vastly, like, a number of birds, the tokens, the same way. There's a lot of scripts, like if you want to push out the key to Jamf, you know, there's a script on their Canary tools, the same place where I wrote it. There's a lot of like automation examples, same with SCCM, and you know, again, the description's the key to keep it in mass, because you don't want 1,000 tokens to say, you know, AWS key. So that's the thing, and it allows you to customize it. You can even make it so that it takes the variable computer name and user token. So that's the way. Yeah, they have a ton of stuff on their GitHub, and they have great documentation. You know, better than I can provide. So.
Can I follow up on that?
Yeah, of course.
So how do you ensure that like the data you're generating isn't a signal for a canary? So depending on how you generate the data, it could be an attacker sees the data and says, well, this looks like a canary now because I've seen in the past maybe and it's following some kind of pattern.
Right.
Automation.
Now, you only need them to hit it once, right? That's the thing. If they've hit it and they're like, it looks like something in the past, maybe they've learned. So, or maybe it is, maybe it isn't, right? It's a PSYOP thing. It's like, you gotta be mixing up your tactics. Like, one of the secrets, not secrets about Gray Noise, is like, they run honeypots. They passively sit on the internet, but they're constantly changing their profile. In fact, they had a challenge a few years ago. Like, if you can find our sensors, you get a job, and somebody did. But like, they're that good, but you gotta be mixing it up all the time. You can't just have the same stupid looking thing. Like, tailor it to the kind of the modern sort of technology out there right now. So I don't know what's the hotness. I mean, people don't put Kubernetes on the internet, or I guess they do. I've seen it, but something that's relevant. You know, good questions. Thanks.
What do you think about Microsoft Defender's account honeypots? Have you had any experience with them? What do you think about them?
That's interesting. Yeah, so I know they have an Azure Centra Canary token, and I have seen that with whatever used to be called like advanced AD.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. My opinion is Microsoft charges for a product that should have been free, right? You know, they're like, wow, there's all these attacks against AD. Why don't we charge people money? Like, let's not give free logs to CISA, because why not? Or the IRS. Unfortunately, yeah, I think it's a necessary thing, kind of like paying for TSA pre-check, you know? Anyway. But I remember how it works. I'm all about it, you know, I just don't like getting money. You had something to say?
Yeah, no.
Okay, yeah, no, but. Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
To be clear, when you're talking about pushing the canary tokens in the place, you have to generate a different token for every green one.
So you know where yeah, it's really cool. So it'll take, for example, we do this thing called the tag token, and it'll generate a new unique key, and then it'll tag the description based on the endpoint needs, and it's a unique token. They're literally unique. Like, you get unlimited tokens.
I experimented with canary tokens a couple of years ago. So a couple of times I've gotten an email. Yeah, your token is like, I don't remember what that was. Where did I put it? What computer was that on? Like, how did it not use free? It was weird because it was like just something in OneDrive that I know it wasn't touching. So something internal Microsoft scanned it or something and it triggered the token. But I couldn't say for sure because the description was like canary token number 2 or something.
I can that happen for sure. So yeah, it's
Is that a free user? I could do something at scale, generate 700 unique tokens, and I just gotta make sure I put them in the right place.
Yeah, the hosted console.
Was anything
version is like Canary.
Gray Noise. We have a couple test accounts in Office 365, and I realized I could sort of be a token. So I took one of them and said, any email sent to this account, also send it to me. And then a couple of times, a weird email comes in, like, what is this? All this was sent to the. Because sometimes you get like a compromised account, and they'll pull down the whole address book, and then come back later and send phishing emails.
That's a great strategy. So you can use generic tokens for that reason. So, yeah, right on, man. Yeah, thanks for coming. How's it going?
Hey, cool. Yeah, I have a cool question for you. So, how do you guys correlate, different theories together? So, like, let's say that someone trips to create,
Go guys, crushed it.
just tripped up. Like, how do you know that's the same person?
Oh, so like, it's all the same, right? Like, just say, kind of like
We're up there recording, right?
you don't really necessarily I know it's
But the free account is always.
so I want to like, the green ones will have to go.
Oh, what do you need?
It's definitely part of like the
For what?
Oh yeah.
No, it's on
Like
that
I
email.
said, I'm not recommending just like
Free,
going
it'll
through
always
it.
be
It's like
free.
send it to
What is it?
slowly kind of activate.
But you guys aren't, it's like you have to get
But I'm
going
just
up.
making sure I'm here for the.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a great time. Stay here for the next meeting.
Oh well, I just don't want to be talking while you're talking. But yeah, I'll put over here.
Well, I'm just asking, like, you guys have a way to, like, relate your different canaries together, like.
Oh yeah, they're all part of like Flock, or like they're all related in a way. Like there's AWS canaries with hardware, and you can put them in Flocks, and you can also have them generate unique node IDs to connect them. So you can add all that description and send it to clients, and to you can add any bit of data to make sure that you know what the heck they are.
Well, I was like, well, like, if you want to track the person through your network, you just want to correlate network logs between different and correlate endpoint logs, right? Could you say like, hey, like canary, could we see a canary here, see a canary there, and we can kind of correlate these logs.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, their platform will do it, but like that's where we
Right.
you know, like this, yeah, like it'll suggest anything, but it'll send you those, yeah,